What is up, everybody? It is episode 4 of the B+Ball Boys podcast. We have a exciting slate today for us. We have the All-Stars after we talk about, of course, PPP and some various trade anticipation. So let's get into it. My player who's pushing P of the week. Well, wait, first of all, how's everyone doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing
I'm
well.
good, man. Hey, you know what that reminded me of? The triple P's. Remember when LeVar was like triple B's?
Dude,
now we got
those are like discounted now. I kind of think you could like get those shirts and be the retro funny guy at a party with a B-Ball or triple B shirt. But nonetheless, okay. Good to hear we're doing good. All right. My player pushing P, Donovan Mitchell under the, Kyrie-led Nets. They were, without Harden, without KD, but this guy just simply missed only twice, 8 for 10, field goal, 27 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, had a block, little guy had a block, perfect from the line. It kind of was a whooping, but, he's definitely the dude on that team. And that was fun to see. So happy for him.
It's coming off the concussion too. It's
Yeah.
good to see him have a good game after missing 2 weeks with a concussion.
Mhm.
And there was that news that he got like a second opinion on it. I thought that it might be a little more serious. So it's good to see him come back and play well.
Absolutely.
If I'm going with Pascal Siakam,
Let's go.
Spicy P is pushing P. Over the last 5 games, first of all, the Raptors had 5 games in 7 nights, and they won all 5 of them. One of them in triple overtime. And these opponents are not easy. They played Atlanta twice, Miami twice, and Chicago once. They won all 5 games. He averaged 43 minutes per game over the last 5 games, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1.5 blocks. Pretty crazy stretch from Pascal Siakam, who I think because he missed early in the season, he missed a lot of games. He might have not been considered for All-Star, but I really think that. And by the way, he's playing major time at center for them. I think by the end of the season, you got to be considering him for both All NBA and All Defense. He's had an insane stretch over the last couple months. So he's pushing B.
Eric seems surprised.
I like it. I'm
Okay.
with it.
All right. Heck yeah.
And I'm gonna round it out. My player pushing P. To go off Marco's trend of picking someone with a P in their name. You ready for this? Taurean Prince against the Nuggets on, I believe it was Tuesday. Nuggets came to Minnesota. Timberwolves beat them by 15, 130-115. Taurean Prince coming off the bench playing 24 minutes was 8 for 12, 6 for 9 from 3. And by the way, the past couple of seasons, and so this season, last season, he shot around 40% from 3. So that was cool. Just under the radar sniper, if you will. But 6 for 9 from 3, 9 rebounds, 23 points plus 22 in 24 minutes. So shout out to Taurean Prince, man.
Absolutely.
Taurean Prince has one of my favorite quotes from a basketball player of all time from when he was in college, and they asked him how his team got out rebounded, and he just explained what a rebound was.
By
He
Yale.
said you go and grab the ball with 2 hands and bring it down. And he was just like, the other team did that more times than we did.
That was a major upset because it was like Baylor and then they played Yale. And then
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, was it one of the first round games where it was like they were like a 4 or 5 seed and it was a crazy upset. I remember that. But man, I'd be pretty upset too. But shout out Taurean Prince, man.
Time was close though. And Taurean Prince, he's due to go off every now and then. He just has like a couple crazy performances per season.
He's a good man.
Good guy. All right. We had the All-Stars released this week. I entered some stats and have some graphs that I'd like to see what the guys think about. So let me share my screen. Screen 2. Okay. All right, is that coming through?
Oh man, I don't know about you, Marco, but I'm getting some nostalgic vibes from this
I'm getting
markdown file.
some
For
flashbacks.
for our viewers out there, this is an R markdown file, and boy, is it bringing up some memories.
Okay, so
Can you
the
zoom in a little bit,
starters.
my guy?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, so
Okay,
I have a few graphs. This is the first one. Player efficiency rating on the Y, minutes played, just to get a feel for how active the player's been this season on the X, and then the starters are like turquoise triangles, and the reserves are red circles. What stands out to you guys? I think I meant to, maybe this is gonna be something I can do next week, but I wanted to just do a K cluster on them and like by conference and see how correct the voters / the media got it. But I think, what stands out to me, how does someone play almost 200 less minutes and have like the lowest PER and still be included in the All-Star rankings? I'll give you a guess at who that is.
Does his name rhyme with Sandrew Figgins?
I know, actually.
No, he has to be a non-starter, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So-
That's right. Is Andrew Wiggins the one near the 1200 minutes though? Oh, wait, no, that's another non-starter. Where is Andrew Wiggins?
Who's missed a lot of time due to injury? Is this like
So this is someone.
who's players who missed a lot of time to injury? Is it like Luca?
Is it?
No,
Is it Fred VanVleet?
No,
Fred
he's played
VanVleet's
tons of minutes. He like
Fred
leads the
VanVleet
league in
missed
minutes.
This is weird because I'm looking at the All-Stars.
Minutes played. I'm pretty sure. Wait, I want to make sure I don't.
Is it Middleton? Middleton has missed a ton of time.
No,
Wait,
it's
do you know who it is?
Draymond. I was
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
He's also missed a lot of time.
he has. Dang.
So yeah,
I kind of think like Draymond is like grandfathered into the All-Star game because like
That's what
everyone
I'm
knows
realizing.
what he does.
He's grandfathered in.
Yeah.
I feel like his trash talk on the court should be factored into his PER. You know what I mean? Because he's got some efficient. That trash talk is lethal. But so that's him in the bottom left. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to me how in this middle here, it's sort of, it's half and half. There's not a clear line of like, okay, you have to be this efficient by PER to be a starter. You can sort of, there's like the elites, right? I think this is like Giannis, Jokic, and LeBron.
Jokic probably has the highest PER.
I think Jokic has the highest, yeah.
Embiid is probably there.
Embiid, yeah. So this is fun to look at. A difference that I was less familiar with, but that the NBA website likes to make easy, or it's like points, rebounds, assists, and then player impact estimate. So this is another one, which is interesting. It's supposed to be a better gauge of like what impact a player had on the overall game. The formula is really long, not too complicated, but it's really long. We have, I think. So who do you think this is? I'm pretty sure I know.
That one's got to be Wiggins.
Yeah.
Not trying to hate, but come on.
We talked about this last week. Like he's a really good starter,
right?
But not a star. And all-star starters, even you would maybe call superstars, and he is not that. So I think this it makes it abundantly clear that he is not on the same tier as the other all-star starters.
Hey, Will, can you go to the first graph?
Yeah.
I want to know who's is that Andrew Wiggins on the bottom? Is the bottom PER? with the
That's
triangle.
that's probably him. The
yeah.
bottom starter there.
mean,
That's probably him.
Okay.
His minutes. Wiggins. Wait, where? Okay, he's 5.
And who has the
Yeah,
oh,
he's a 16.82. So yeah, that's like
and
that's
who is the which non-starter has the highest PER?
which non-starter has the highest PER? Okay, so that would be that's about
It's like a tie between
26 or
it's
so.
like a line, like a horizontal line.
26 versus.
Looks like it could be maybe Donovan Mitchell.
8 is
Gobert.
Gobert.
Jimmy
Gobert
Butler.
could be it. Gobert could be it, and that's who I said should replace Andrew Wiggins on the starters.
Jimmy Butler has a
Yeah.
high PER. He has like 26 and a half.
That's true. I think he just missed a lot of games.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
does have 26, so I think
He's
it's a
probably the
little
guy
higher
on
than
the-
Gobert's even.
And then last graph, I don't know, just points plus rebounds plus assists versus minutes played again. I think this one's gotta be Yoke, right?
Yeah, that's got to be Jokic. He scores so well in all of these advanced stats.
Yeah.
And I just a side note, when people are like, there's a certain TV host who's like, oh, like you have to look into like all the numbers and stuff like that to see how good Jokic is. No, you don't. You just watch him play and you see.
You got a name drop. You got a name drop.
Yeah, bro.
Nick Wright.
Let's
Nick
get
Wright is
deep
like
with first take.
Nick Wright specifically is like, oh, you have to like look at Jokic's pie scores to realize like that he's like a top 3. No, you don't. Just watch him play. He's a top 3 player. You can see that from the eye test.
What did you say? Pie scores?
Yeah, this is the pie score.
It's the
Player
player
impact
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Yes, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, no. So this was fun. I don't have too much more. I'm gonna work on
This is beautiful, man.
doing some different things with this, but I got the rust off with some R stuff, so this is good, guys.
Okay.
Thanks for taking a look.
No, thank you, man.
I guess next week it's my turn to bring a graphic in.
However, we'll figure it out. Okay, biggest snubs for All-Star though.
Marco, you want to go? You can go ahead.
Okay, I'll go
let
first.
Marco sound off.
I'll go first.
The entire Grizzlies roster.
Desmond Bain.
If Jaren Jackson is not Draymond's all-star replacement, I would be a little upset. First of all, it's like a natural replacement because you're like, this isn't even my snub, right? Because I thought Draymond, when healthy, was maybe a little more deserving of it. But when you look at Jaren's stats, you may not be like wowed, but he is a defensive player of the year level player, right? He's probably like a top 3. He leads the league in blocks this year, in total blocks. He's like anchoring the Grizzlies defense, who's been top 5 since that early stretch. I just kind of feel like he's a natural replacement for Draymond. Like if you're replacing Draymond, maybe you're like, oh, a similar player who's an all-star is Jaren, right? But he's not really my snub. Who I'm calling a snub, first of all, to replace Chris Middleton, who, while he is like an all-star player, like I don't think he was having an all-star level year. The guy that I would like to replace him is Jared Allen.
Ooh, I like that.
Stole my guy. You stole my guy.
Jared Allen. You know what? I can go with another one then.
No. I want to hear your case for Jared Allen.
The Cavs are 4th in the East, 32-21 record. Jared Allen is averaging 16, 11, and 2. He never misses shots.
67% shooting.
67% shooting. Honestly, maybe my reasoning is because between Garland and Allen, I thought Allen was maybe even more important than Garland at times. to the success of the Cavs, and they gave it to Garland, which I understand, especially because his last 2 weeks were really strong. But I just kind of felt like if you're looking at teams that need two All-Stars, like I don't think that the Bucks really like played to their potential, even though they're the defending champs. I don't think that Chris Middleton had a All-Star level year. I even thought Drew Holiday was having a better season than Chris Middleton. So I would have liked to reward the Cavs for the great season that they've had and reward who I think is maybe the most important player on the Cavs with his first All-Star selection.
That's fair. I'd agree.
What about you guys? You got a big snub for the All-Star team?
Well, I gotta update my pick. So, Will, do you got anyone off the top of your head?
I'm trying to pick between. Wait, who's better? Who's doing better this year? Well,
Here's a question, and I didn't have a strong reaction or opinion on this, but do we feel like LaMelo is a snub?
that's what I was looking at. I mean, wait, Hornets are. So this becomes part of it, right? Like you have to be in the playoffs. I mean, they are in the playoffs right now. They're in the 9 seed, I guess. LaMelo Ball.
So he's averaging almost 27 and 7.5.
Yeah, I think you give him the nod. Wait,
42.5%.
His pie is below average though.
He's played 47 of their games. That is 47 out of 54. So he's missed only 7 games. I thought that he was a near miss. I don't think that for me personally, I didn't think that he was a snub. Like he should have made it and didn't. I thought he was like a near miss.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the guy I like the most, honestly, but their record is trash, is DeJounte Murray. Great year for him. Really like to see what he's been able to do. It was a nice development of a story here. But yeah, I mean, you do have to sort of at least be 10 seed or below, I guess, or better, 10 seed or better, sort of. And they're not. So, but
maybe he's an injury replacement.
Yeah, give him that. No, do we know if that could have contract ramifications? Does that count in negotiation?
For Supermax, you need to be like all NBA.
Oh, okay.
Or get one of the awards, like Defensive Player of the Year or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So I think that to help Eric out, I think that there's like a couple guys who could be injury replacements in each conference. One of them is okay. So in the West, like the 3 guys that I'm thinking for injury replacements for Draymond, who said already that he's not playing in the All-Star game due to his like calf/back injury. Jaren, as I mentioned, DeJounte Murray, as Will mentioned, and Brandon Ingram is the third one, who when he's played, I think he's been really good. And in the East, KD probably won't be playing a game. Almost surely won't be playing a game. I think that the guys who might replace KD are, LaMelo Ball, Jared Allen, and Jaylen Brown, I think was the third one. But to me,
love the flexibility of hybrid work.
That was ESPN. My apologies.
They love to do that. You're good.
To me, the Celtics just haven't been good enough to merit having 2 All-Stars. Honestly, neither of the Jays are having a good season, whether or not they average a lot of points. Lately, they've been on a good stretch, but they've been playing a lot of bad teams. Frankly, I just didn't think that Jaylen Brown had really earned that spot. So LaMelo Ball would be super fun in the All-Star game. Whether I think he's a near miss or not, if he makes it, I'll just be like, oh, the game will be more fun.
We'll say this. I hope next year, I can't justify this guy being in the All-Star game this year. But next year, I really, really hope that Anthony Edwards would
Oh
be an
yeah,
all-star.
I'd love to see him in this like the dunk competition as well. I guess
I think if he improves his 3-point shooting a little bit, which is it's honestly not even that bad. 36% is pretty good.
Tick above league average.
Especially for the kind of shots he takes, because he takes like step backs and like off the dribble threes and stuff. Like it's not all catch and shoot.
Right, it's not open.
I think he has room to improve, and I would really like to see him in the All-Star game alongside Cat, maybe.
Very charismatic end player. Like him a lot.
Best interviewer
Yeah,
or interviewee in the league.
I think there is no doubt he will make the All-Star team soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I think we did that. Do we want to talk about the upcoming trade deadline this Thursday, the 10th?
Do we? Of course.
Sure. So there was a recent report by Shams. The tweet that kind of set the world on fire here was one that said that the Nets have engaged with talking with the Sixers on a deal for James Harden. Nobody else reported that really, except for him. I always like to see like who reported it, to see like, you know, maybe judge the kind of integrity of the report. Shams, he seems pretty connected with like players' agents and such, whereas Waj is more of like connected with the front office kind of guys. So you know, you wonder like maybe where he could have gotten this from. I didn't really come to any conclusion. It's funny trying to trace down like the NBA conspiracy rabbit hole, you know. But I guess the proposed trade, if it happens, is just what do we think? Harden for Simmons straight up?
I guess if you can.
Yeah, I do think it'll probably be closer straight up than we would think, right? Like you'd think like Harden's worth more, but I mean he's been underperforming. He can't stay in shape now. His hamstring injury last year has really like lingered. So, I mean, also it's like it's reminiscent of like the Westbrook for Wall trade. It's like I'll switch my problem for yours, and that might be better. like Simmons wants to be in a big market. It seems like he's content never playing in Philly again, even though he's losing like $17 million this year doing that. And you know, Harden said some weird things about he doesn't know if he wants to live in Brooklyn long term. So I don't
know if he said that or whether that was like reported or leaked out of his like circle or something. Like I don't think he ever said I don't like living in Brooklyn to the media.
So that could be cap. But I mean, I definitely think he'd rather play with Joel Embiid and a team that's committed versus like dealing with Kyrie's shenanigans, you know. So it's you hold the feet to the fire, and I think it's more, I'd say it's like a 60% chance that some form of this deal goes through this week is my like read on it this year.
There's a pretty high chance.
You don't think so? Like I don't think that Daryl wants to just like Embiid's playing out of his mind. I don't think they want to just waste a season.
But my question is like, why would the Nets now go like, we'll give you what you want, right? Because they're in direct competition. You know what I mean? Sure. Why would the Nets say now like, we'll just give you everything that you want. You give us Simmons, right? And then you know maybe we see each other in the.
They probably have to give him some picks and stuff. Like the Sixers probably will get compensated. Wait. The Sixers will probably have to compensate the Nets a bit here, right?
But so. the Nets like okay, they get picks. Their title window is now, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that this comes back to bite them, and they play the Sixers this year in the playoffs, and it doesn't work out or something like that because they gave him James Harden. Like, I think okay. With all three guys playing, the Nets are better than the Sixers. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
With two of the three guys playing, they can probably win some of the home games. Do we agree on that?
Yes.
So they would probably, and so this is with Simmons not playing. because Simmons probably won't play if,
Right.
if he stays a Sixer. So we can agree right now, the Nets can rest comfortably knowing they would probably beat the Sixers in the playoffs right now if they
Yes.
matched up. And they might match up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If they traded Harden for Simmons, can we say, like, with as much certainty, okay, with all three guys, are they still better than Philly, who now has just the Philly team plus James Harden? Because keep in mind, like, they're not losing anything, right? And I guess there's another question that I want to ask you guys, but like with James Harden, with a good James Harden and Embiid, like, can we honestly say that series is as much in the favor of the Nets? And I don't think so. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't think the calculation is just this year though. Like, if they want to take the long view, like they want to get Simmons for Harden just because like Harden is likely ish to bounce, I think, for nothing.
Is he to believe that? You know, because that's what's reported to the media, but like, who knows? Like, this could literally,
That's true.
like, there's so much
Posturing.
disinformation in the
Right.
NBA media and posturing, right? Where
Mhm.
if you think about it, like, it could literally just be like Daryl Morey saying, like, hey, report Harden wants to leave Brooklyn like a
Mhm.
million times. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And they'll like tweet it out because they're like, well, Daryl Morey told me, but I can't say that. You
Mhm.
know, and then like, it depends on whether they get the sense in the Nets front office that, you know, we need to like move off of James Harden because he is going to leave. Has he shown that kind of indication?
Mhm.
Sorry, I don't mean to completely derail it.
No,
But-
I'll say this with the Nets. I would trust James Harden to lead a team solo if Kyrie and KD are not playing than Ben Simmons. I trust James Harden more. I think there's more. He has more to his game than Ben Simmons, and I think what history has shown is Ben Simmons kind of. I don't think he wants to be the solo star,
no.
and so I think the team that's going to have to sweeten the deal is probably the Sixers, because the Nets, like KD's, I mean, he's all indications say he's going to come back,
I think
but
he extended.
what's up?
KD is extended.
No, I'm
KD
saying
is
like
extended.
from injury. If
Okay.
I'm thinking about like this
Oh
season,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about
He's
yeah.
fine.
like who would you rather, like even if it's for a couple games, who would you rather be the leader of your team for 2 games, James Harden or Ben Simmons?
Definitely James Harden.
James Harden, right?
Yeah. So I think the Nets are like, okay, you're taking away the guy who's been not most consistent with like results, but just like health all around playing this season. It's like, yeah, Ben Simmons is healthy, but like he's kind of come up small and when like his number has been called. So I think this Sixers can, we'll see. I think they'll have to sweeten the deal. I would be really surprised if they were able to get a one-on-one, 1-for-1 off.
They just can't give up Maxey. They really can't.
I don't
Maxey
think
is
they
so
would.
good. I feel like the Nets
Unless they got some people from the Blazers front office to hold down the fort,
oh right,
and
yeah.
then
I mean,
maybe they'll trade him.
I think the Nets will ask for Simmons and Maxey. You know, but it's whether they want to do that. But I think to your point, like, okay, like James Harden is better as a solo star, but like in neither case is he going to be a solo star, right? He's not supposed to be a solo star in Brooklyn.
No.
It's just the case because you know, KD is injured and Kyrie is missing half the games.
Mhm.
And even when he is playing, you know, like, I don't know, he can maybe be a little bit difficult to deal with, right? But he's not supposed to be the solo star there. In Philly, he's not supposed to be the solo star either. You'd be the number 2 behind Embiid, who's undoubtedly the better player right now.
Mhm.
And James Harden, he likes to be a facilitator. He can facilitate for Joel Embiid. He can make the pick and roll passes. You know, that guy can average double-digit assists easily.
Mhm.
But if you think about it, what are the Nets team needs? Like, what beats the Nets is like a good offense, right? Because the Nets defense is like probably a little bit better than average. You know,
Very mid.
yeah. So giving the Nets a player who was second in defensive player of the year voting last year, and giving them, you know, a player who that he would undoubtedly bolster their defense to a large degree. He'd probably move them to a top 10 defense just by himself. I think he's one of the most impactful defenders in the NBA. And people forget that because of all the drama surrounding him. But that is the problem that he fixes is your defense to a major degree. Just giving the Nets like a solution to their problems is maybe not the best idea. You know,
That's fair.
like obviously it solves a lot of problems for Philly too.
Mhm.
They get a player who's actually playing.
All right, you've talked me down to 33%.
Yeah, I think if they weren't in direct competition with each other right now, this
If it was
would maybe
different
be more likely.
conferences. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Great point, Marco. Great points. Anything else, Eric, on that one?
I don't think it matters. I think the Bucks will come out of the East. So
Let's go. Giannis
All this to lose to
repeat.
the Bucks. I saw a funny tweet that about James Harden and, you know, his 4-point performance in Sacramento the other day.
Mhm.
That all it took was one long road trip with Kyrie for him to give up on the team.
It's like, no, thank you.
Yeah, he got tired of that guy. But you know, I like people like to talk about like I guess I've talked to a couple people who'd be like, this is because like James Harden has like a big ego or something like that. I don't really like to jump to that conclusion. Like he probably didn't want to do as much as or by all reports, he didn't want to do as much as he had to do in Houston.
Mhm.
And now he has to do as much as he had to do in Houston. You know what I mean? And
Right.
like it's easy for him to just be like, well, this is like not what I signed up for. And one of the co-stars I signed up to play with is not playing half the games. And there's no indication that he will. So
Mhm.
like I can see why he would be upset. I don't think people have to, you know, jump down James Harden's throat. I guess my question is his hamstring really cooked? Like can he return to the play or most of the player that he was? Like what do we think?
I mean, I guess I'm pontificating, like you just said, about sort of trying to get in the psyche of a player. If he like took his like recovery more seriously, I think he could. But I think I don't know. I mean, I'm just going off of like how he's like gained weight seemingly in the last like couple seasons or whatever, right? Like, and he could get that off. He just like hasn't somehow. So
yeah,
I think
you never don't underestimate James Harden's ability to shapeshift.
really,
didn't
The man's
people
a
say
shapeshifter.
like last year when he was in Houston, didn't they go he's overweight, and then
Yeah.
like the second he stepped foot in Brooklyn, they're like, wait a second, he's in great shape.
I mean,
Like
black
I
is a slimming color.
I think
but-
he just has a body type that looks thick. Like I'm not saying
Yeah.
that maybe he wasn't a little overweight, right? But like he's not the only player who's come into the seasons overweight a little bit.
Sure.
You know,
Luka does
like,
this as well.
I think he just has like Lowry maybe, or you know,
Lowry
I
did come to mind.
watched like the Lakers last night, and I'm sure that Stanley Johnson is in tremendous shape, but just like the way that the jersey and shorts fits over his body makes him look like he's overweight or something, and I'm sure
Right.
he's not.
Right.
I just kind of think that's the case for James Harden. Like the way that he's shaped makes it look like he's more overweight than he is. What I'm concerned about is like whether his first step, which was always his most dangerous weapon,
Mhm.
is able to be as quick. And like half the time I watch him, it is, and half the time I watch him, it's not.
Mhm.
So I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know whether James Harden is really cooked or not. there are people in the media saying like signing him this summer would be like the worst thing you could possibly do. I'm not willing to go that far.
I think you have to sign him, yeah. Either way.
I think you have to sign him if you have the chance. He used to be so amazing, and he can be so amazing, you know. I don't know. It's a tough situation.
It is. Do we want to talk Randall?
If you would like me to lead this a
I
little
would
bit
love you-
again,
I would
if
love
you would
to hear
allow
that.
me. There was a clip circulating the other day about Julius Randle potentially being traded, and this quote was from satirical news source or Twitter page Ballsack Sports, which has fooled a couple of reporters like The Onion before into quoting them. I can't believe if you're making a story and like looking at your quotes, you wouldn't realize where you went wrong here. But it's not the first time that it's happened. And the other night there was a clip where a reporter asked Julius Randle if he had any talks with the front office about like potential trades or anything, and he was just like, "Where did you hear that? Where did you hear that?" Like, and the reporter, who clearly had gotten his news from Ballsack Sports, was like not wanting to say his source, and he was like, "I think it was ESPN. It's just been out there." And Randall was like, "You're just making stuff up now." And then he went on to say like, "Oh, I trust the front office. I wouldn't have like re-signed or extended here if I didn't." On and on. Do we believe in Ballsack Sports? Is there any chance Julius Randle gets traded at the deadline?
First of all, what a name. And what a
The logo
difference
does look
between
good, like-
what a difference between them and ESPN in
Yeah.
terms of legitimacy. Wow. What a way to save face by the reporter. I think it was ESPN.
Randall just straight up didn't believe him. He was just like, "You're making it up."
But with the question, do we believe in Ballsack Sports?
Nah.
How do we feel about Ballsack Sports sources? Do we think they're on to something?
I mean,
No.
could he get traded, and do they maybe look right? There's a chance, but like I don't think it's high.
The crazy Knicks trade that I've seen is not involving Randall. It's between the two teams that played last night. I've seen suggested for some reason Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, and Kemba Walker for Russell Westbrook.
I've seen that, and I'm very hopeful, but it's not gonna happen. Like,
It's
why
not
would
gonna
it
happen.
happen?
Like why?
Not after last night.
Why would the Knicks do that? Like,
Yeah, why? Like, doesn't make sense.
the contract lengths are the same between those. Well, actually, I think Kemba Walker might be even expiring. But the contract lengths, like, you're not getting off money for next year with Burks and Fournier coming off the books. Like, do you think that Westbrook in like a larger role helps you?
don't
Maybe
know if
make
he
the
helped.
play in.
He definitely
Because where are
sells
they-
tickets in the Garden. He would sell tickets.
Do you need to sell tickets in the Garden?
No, that's the other thing.
Like, the people come to the Garden.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think you're in trouble there.
no, you're totally right. Totally right.
As the most valuable franchise in the NBA. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Does this get you to the play-in without really losing anything? They're in 12th right now. They wouldn't be
Potentially.
losing anything tremendously valuable. Does it get you to the play-in? I don't really know.
I still think the Hornets are better. I think
Hawks are
the
better.
Celtics are better. I think the Hawks will get better.
They're on a run right now. Like, it's if the Knicks do that, I would be surprised. I mean, they wouldn't be losing too much to do it, but like, I just wonder why. Just wonder why they would.
They're not going to do
Westbrook's game last night,
it.
my lord.
So
I'm-
mad that the Lakers won, though. I mean, dang.
At this point, as a Grizzlies fan, I need the Lakers to win because we only get their pick if it's 11 through 30. And if it's top 10,
So
it goes.
we need to be like at least 5 or 6 within our conference, okay, or something like that.
No,
Within
not that
the
far.
league.
Just can't be the worst 10, one of the worst 10 teams in the
Oh,
NBA.
okay, right.
I think there's some risk of that. So I was like reluctantly rooting for the Lakers to win that game, which in the first half was going very poorly. And I guess like the big thing was like I've long been like, or this season been like, Russ isn't the Lakers' biggest problem guy, but oh man, was that ugly. Like that game was ugly.
4 turnovers, 5 points.
A couple of some of the worst plays I've ever seen. There was one at the free throw line where like I think he pump faked, almost lost the ball, and then went up to shoot and like threw the ball straight up in the air for a turnover. And obviously like the one that everyone talks about, yet another bank shot that went very like off the side of the backboard almost.
Paul George type shot.
What if?
But I got to defend Paul George. Paul George is only side of the backboard like one shot ever. Other than that, he's nice. You know, that's like so uncharacteristic for him. Is characteristic for Russell Westbrook, right?
Yeah, you're right.
What if Russell Westbrook? This is like I don't know how. When I'm thinking of I don't know if you knew about this, Marco. I know Will's more on the football scene, but Jameis Winston got LASIK surgery.
Yep.
And he was like, "Oh, I can finally see now." And I wonder if that's what Russell Westbrook needs. You know.
You know what's funny is Russell Westbrook's brother Ray Westbrook was in the Twitter Spaces, and somebody asked him if Russ needed glasses, and he like laughed at them. So somebody has brought this up to his family members.
I've seen Russell Westbrook wear glasses before.
I've seen Russell Westbrook shoot these shots better.
I mean,
his bank shots. Then this used to be his thing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he needs LASIK.
Maybe he does.
There's no shame in that. There's no shame in getting it.
There's no shame in that. I don't know what the recovery time is like.
Yeah,
if he gets it mid-season. But go ahead.
I think Winston was 5-2 this year as a starter. So I mean, he was cutting down on the turnovers. He was doing some things. So it could, if that is something that's affecting Westbrook, that would be, a worthy investment. He's definitely got the money. So I'm sure the team would also pay for it. Honestly,
I have that clip saved in my phone of Jameis Winston like on his torn ACL dancing in the locker room after beating the Bucks.
Yeah, eating a W.
It was pretty fun, pretty fun clip. Russell Westbrook will be a Laker on February 11th. Yeah. He's not getting traded. There's no takers.
Right,
if he somehow does get traded, you got to dump that pick in the process. The one pick that they can trade. They got to lose it in the process.
Yeah.
So in a tough spot there. I guess the next trade to discuss is the Blazers Clipper deal that happened, I believe, on Friday, where the Blazers sent the Clippers Norman Powell and Robert Covington in exchange for Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a second-round pick. I think all three of us are in line with what we think about this, but you guys want to share your thoughts?
I mean, yeah. I think the Clippers won. And it's got to be either frustrating or maybe Lillard is playing 3D chess while we're playing checkers. I don't know. I just don't know how he stays long term with this, if this is the direction the Blazers are going. But
what are the Blazers doing, man? It's like they're trying to piss off Damian Lillard or something. Unless
They-
Damian
they-
Lillard was like, "Hey, I don't like Norman Powell. Get him out of here." Then what are they doing?
They are maybe trying to force Dame to ask for a trade.
That's it.
Um,
That, you know what? That might. I mean, everyone has been saying like Damian Lillard needs to get out of there. Damian Lillard needs to leave, and maybe Damian feels like he wants to stay. Then the Blazers organization wants him to leave. Are the ones that want to make a trade.
I feel like they have had a really difficult time this year. This is important. They have had a really difficult time this year selling tickets.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mhm.
it was difficult for them to ever want to, and even in some of their good years, it was difficult for them to sell tickets at times.
Mhm.
I think that for them to trade Damian Lillard is to turn that already bad um ticket sale like rate into a worse one because your main draw is gone to completely blow it up, to just have like field like a bad basketball team would maybe be very difficult for them to do like financially. um it does kind of seem like they are finally choosing to go in that direction, although like I think we can all say it's very late for them to do this, and they've maybe missed out on a lot of the value they could have gotten.
They could have sold higher for sure.
Mm-hmm. CJ McCollum, I mean, CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic have got to be next. I kind of feel like Dame can't get traded this year because he's had that abdomen surgery.
Abdominal. Yeah.
Which, okay, so first things first, you should have traded Dame in the summer,
Yeah.
where you would have gotten the King's ransom for him.
Yeah. You would have gotten like close to the 80 package or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And looking in retrospect at the Olympics and how he played in the Olympics, that abdominal surgery, like that abdomen injury was apparent then, but I don't think people realized it at the time. I think they just thought he had a bad Olympics, right? Norman Powell, you traded Gary Trent Jr. for Norman Powell, and then signed Norman Powell to a 5-year deal, and then traded him for Keon Johnson in the second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially traded Gary Trent Jr. for Keon Johnson in the second round pick. And Gary Trent Jr. looks like the best player in that deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's way younger than Norman Powell. He's playing crazy for the Raptors right now. Almost gave him the PPP. It had to be a Raptor for me after their last.
Almost gave
him. He had like 30 in 5 straight games or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was playing tremendous defense. So you gave up him for Keon Johnson in a second, basically. Keon Johnson is a fine prospect, super athletic. But like development is really hard, and getting a player even the same caliber as Gary Trent Jr. or Norman Powell out of Keon Johnson would be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You traded 2 first-round picks for Robert Covington and gave him up now for Eric Bledsoe and Justice Winslow, who are basically just contracts,
Mm-hmm.
That are coming to an end soon. There's nothing there. And look, you may say, okay, but what about, what they did get is like the time that Robert Covington and Norman Powell played for them. They didn't accomplish anything there. And I think honestly, like I said at the time that I didn't think that they were going to do anything. Like when they got Norman Powell, I think that I said like this is a nice addition, but it's not getting them where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert Covington, I can't quite remember, but I don't think that I was super moved by it at the time either. This was terrible work over the last 3 years by the Blazers.
Yeah. I think you nailed it. I don't have much to add. You went in reasonably so. Eric?
I'm a jinx, dude. Every
You
team
can't
I
root for a
root,
team.
every team I root for is just like
Oh,
they
so, yes.
just end up stinking eventually.
Now the Clippers are loaded up for 2023.
I have a bet at work that the Clippers will have a better record than the Lakers at the end of the season.
You're gonna win that.
Yeah, you'll win that. But wait, are you trying next year or this year? This year?
Marco's saying
This year you'll win that. They might beat the Lakers in the play-in, which would be some pain for Lakers fans.
But
I mean,
Marco was
don't-
saying once they get Kawhi and keep Paul George back, that
Yeah,
they're gonna be crazy.
I'm saying 2023 because think about
Yeah,
it.
it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy.
For 2023, what have they changed effectively? They will have Norman Powell for 2023. Norman Powell could be really good for them on a healthy Clippers team. First of all, I need to dispel one notion. Norman Powell is not an elite defender. He is maybe like all right at best. He's still small for a guard, even though his wingspan is really long, and he does try, but he's not that good at defense. So it actually would be good for him to be in the Clippers scheme where they can cover that up. Because the Raptors scheme made him look like he was a great defender. He's not. Okay. And I think being on the Blazers proved that because they thought they were getting like some elite defender and they weren't, you know. But on the Clippers, he'll help. He's a viable like third scorer on a team. He can do stuff with the ball. They can re-sign Robert Covington, although I think Robert Covington is very overrated. Like he could still be useful if they get him on a reasonable deal. And the Clippers is a really good destination for him too, because they might play him at center sometimes like Batum. I kind of feel like their next move will just be like dumping Serge Ibaka because they're way over the salary cap. They're going to pay a lot of tax. But next year, the Clippers are going to be scary. They honestly might be the title favorites next year.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I could see them being co-favorites of the Suns for the conference. Yeah. Good deal.
Any additional thoughts? Any projected destinations for McCollum or Nurkic or anybody?
I think the Blazers have shown us that everything is on the table.
Yeah, I know.
Any possibility needs to be considered.
Except for Anthony Simons. He's not getting moved.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, a Blazers front office excuse will be we needed to do these deals to re-sign Anthony Simons. They already could have re-signed Anthony Simons without doing the deals.
Yeah, the team.
They already had the ability to do that. This is like it's fake news, basically. McCollum, my most likely destination for McCollum is New Orleans, because I think that David Griffin's job is on the line, kind of, if they don't do well. The Pelicans have actually been good this year when they have Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, Devontae Graham, and Herb Jones all play. They haven't been that bad. And they do really need a guard. But I think that the correct guard to get is more of a passing guard rather than a scoring guard. Either way, they do really need a guard. And I kind of feel like David Griffin may go for CJ McCollum. Even if Zion doesn't play, they can make that play in. And I mean, that would be the first time in the Zion era they've even made the play in. So that could be a win for them. And Brandon Ingram, like I would not want Brandon Ingram to be upset with New Orleans. He's a really good player. And I know that he gets slept on a lot, but Brandon Ingram is really good.
Yeah, you want to keep him for sure. That's it for me. You got anything else? Any final closing thoughts, guys?
We're coming next week with the stats. More stats.
More stats
Well,
coming.
we have to have there'll be a deadline recap next week too.
That's true. There'll be a lot to talk about next week. So with that, we're looking forward to the next one. Thanks, everyone. Signing off.